Thanks, Helen. In that case, let's go ahead. So, first of all, good afternoon, everybody who is on the call, and a very warm welcome. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Steph Smith of HPCA, and today's webinar is to shine a light on the Level 4 Data Analyst Apprenticeship. And a special welcome to anyone who is on the call who is new to the HPCA community and joining one of our webinars for the first time. For those people, we've got HPCA have been established specifically to support anybody involved in project and program management in the healthcare sector. And individual subscription is free and allows you access a range of free resources, information, newsletters, and of course all of our community webinars. And if you subscribe to HPCA, it does make it easier for us to send you the recording links and information shared in today's session, as Helen's just mentioned. Only takes a few seconds, and the link to the subscribe should be in the chat. Antonia Beziaco, I've also is the chair of HPCA's ED&I network, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm standing in on her behalf today. She couldn't be with us today, unfortunately, but she's asked me just to let you know a little bit about the network and its purpose. So the aim of the network is to advance equality, diversity and inclusion principles, not only within the NHS project profession, but also with a key focus on integrating and embedding ED&I principles into the development and delivery of healthcare projects and programmes for the benefit of all patients and service users. And we've actually got a newly formed steering group at the moment, currently deciding on our network's key areas of focus for the coming year. So if you're not already involved and you would like to be, please do get in touch via our email address info@hpca.uk, which also will put into the chat for you. So without further ado, I'm very happy to now introduce you to our colleague joining us from Projecting Success, who are going to tell you all about the Level 4 Data Analyst Apprenticeship, and that is David Matthews, who is Apprenticeship Training Manager, and Warwick Gross, who is Solutions Analyst. There will be some time for David and Warwick to respond to questions that you may have at the end of the presentation. So please pop those into the chat and we'll get back to those after the presentation, if that's okay. So I think we've had lots of more people join us since the initial introduction. So I'll hand over to you, David and Warwick. And welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you. And thanks everybody for joining. As mentioned, my name's David Matthews and I'm the Apprenticeship Training Manager at Projecting Success. I've been in apprenticeships now since 2007, worked at QA, Decoded, Firebrand, various different providers, and now working for Projecting Success, looking after the apprenticeship provision, right the way from kind of onboarding, right the way through to delivery and training, tutors, classrooms, modules, etc., all the way through to the achievement of the programme. So I'll be here to support anybody throughout your journey with any questions, any queries, hopefully to share some amazing updates and some successes and some stories. But also I'll be managing the delivery team to ensure that you are getting the very best learning experience with the latest and greatest technology and some real amazing outcomes that you can implement within your job role that, as you'll see in the slides with Warwick in a second, will hopefully streamline what you do, save you time, save you money, save you effort, etc. All of that wonderful stuff that you'll get from the back end of completing an apprenticeship standard. So that's a bit about me and why I'm here today. So I'll hand over to Warwick for his introduction and then we'll move on to the slides.
Yeah, thank you very much. So hello everyone, I'm Warwick. You might have heard my official title is a Solutions Analyst. I do all sorts of things at Projecting Success, but I'm here today as one of the tutors on the apprenticeship course. So David, if you're all right to share the slides.
Thumbs up when you can see it, Warwick.
I can see it. Do you want to put a
Yep.
slideshow view on?
And now I'll put it onto slideshow. There you go.
Excellent. So do you want to move on to the next slide?
There we go. I believe that's the next slide. It had a bit of a glitch, but we are there now.
All right. Well, to start you all off, I want to tell you a little bit about what we believe at Projecting Success. So we're an organisation that delivers a number of things to the project profession, and we were founded on the principle that within projects, so often do things go wrong. You know, projects go over budget, projects go over time. And there are so many issues that are facing the industry that cause so many problems. And we believe that the solution to those problems is through data and through the power of data and the future of data. So I just want to start you off by introducing you to a few ideas and examples about how you guys can utilize data or the impact data can have on your roles. So one classic thing that we always like to start off telling all the apprentices or all the people interested is the impact it has to you directly and in what you do on your day-to-day, which is reducing the burden. So often, or pretty much in almost every industry, people tend to find themselves too busy and not able to spend their time on the things that matter and the things that make change happen. And the way to release that capacity to empower you to make the difference that you want to make is to automate away a lot of the nagging and annoying roles that you do on your day-to-day basis. So take the thing that you always have to do every week that takes hours and hours and is dull and boring, and create automation that gets rid of that, freeing you up to work on the important things. Next slide, please. Now, not only do we believe that the future in project delivery is with data, we believe that you're not going to get to that future if you give all of the data work and all of the technology work off to a team of programmers off in the corner. We think that the project professional, the project professionals, the ones with the understanding of the problem, with the insight into what's happening, are the ones capable of making that change. And we believe that by providing the data skills, you are able to make that change. So what we teach on the apprenticeship allows you to build the skills necessary to make data-driven changes within your role and within your team, within your organization. We'll teach you to identify the problems you're facing, to collect the data needed to solve them, to prepare and explore the data, to model the data, to validate and understand the value of your data, and then to visualize and communicate that with people. Next slide. Once you're capable of visualizing that data, it allows you to make data-driven decisions. Far too often are we all making decisions based on just tacit knowledge or the bits and people's feelings and how we think it is, whereas the power to make decisions based on data, based on statistics, based on the reality of the situation allows you to have a lot more confidence in the decisions you make, but also allows you to ensure that the decisions you're making are the correct ones. Next slide, please. On the course we run, we push you all the way to the edge of the skill level needed. We will build you out into that future with AI and machine learning. We get you started in the course on learning some more advanced technologies. We've got an example on the screen of a previous learner who built a Monty Python simulation for project planning that using what are essentially pretty well-known machine learning methods, they were able to go from somebody who completely no experience in data into be able to doing quite advanced modeling and simulations. Next slide, please. But don't take our word for it. It's not just us who believe the future of project delivery is in data, it's the government as well. And we're seeing more and more across the industry, across different organizations, that the future of projects and the future of project delivery needs to be underpinned with AI and data. Next slide, please. So, yes, there we go. So part of what we want to do in this course is not just to give you some data skills to improve your day-to-day, but we want to position you to make more substantial change within your organization. We always like to bring up the value escalator, which is part of what we teach on the course. which is moving you from the starting line up to where the data-driven future is. The escalator of analytical value is all about what you can gain from your data. In the start, and where we always want to start off, is what's happening, understanding what's going on, using the data we have to understand where we are, what's happening in order to make decisions. The further we go along that escalator, the more we begin to understand why did things happen, what the situation is, how the data tells us what is causing situations to be the way they are. Then we'll move you as learners into predicting the future of data. We'll start simple and build you up with predictive analytics, and then eventually we'll hit the top of the escalator of prescriptive analytics. How can we make things happen? Next slide, please. So a little bit more about the government's plan and how we're building into this. The Infrastructure and Projects Authority has become very engaged and driven around this, the project data analytics world, and they're beginning to release papers and or white papers on the subject of how we move to a more data-driven future. Next slide, please. So part of that core government framework is one of the big goals or strategic objectives they're pushing for is that data-driven performance, using data analysis and experience to drive continual improvement in government, in project delivery, planning, performance, and outcomes. It is part of the change that's happening. We need to be prepared for a future that's more data-driven. And as I often say, when the tide rises, it rises for all of us, lifting all the ships. As we become more data-driven, everyone can improve their project delivery together. Next slide. So the course itself. In times of change, learners inherit the earth. It's all right, yeah, next slide. Yeah, that's the better one. So the course itself is a 15-month apprenticeship. It's a government-backed apprenticeship, so that's a qualification that is officially recognised as a level 4 data analyst. Throughout the course, you'll create a portfolio of projects. These projects will be based on your work, your role, things that matter to you. It's not just about studying and doing homework and coursework. The way the apprenticeship is structured is that it's part of your role. So that means that the work you're doing, the time you spend on the course, is time spent on improving your team, improving your working, improving what you have access to. And many of our learners, especially those who already have used some data within their role, find that it's not taking away from their role at all. In fact, it's enhancing the time they spend and making better use of it. The course is tutor-led, so that means there is teaching throughout. It's not just you learning on your own. There'll be a number of modules, 15 in fact, because they're on the screen now, that really allow you to get that support and direct teaching that you need. We break it down into bite-sized chunks. We teach you the fundamentals of data. We teach you how to visualize and understand data with Power BI. We teach an introduction to programming, and I will say from some of our previous NHS learners, they've done very well using some of the skills learned in programming to just build some basic and simple things that make their lives a lot easier. We teach an introduction to data analysis and machine learning. We teach you how to model and understand data. We build your skills in automating and gathering data and building applications to gather data. We'll then push you to some applied machine learning and get you using machine learning and AI with data that's relevant to you. We also then will fill you up with all the relevant bits and pieces associated with that. So understanding the security involved, understanding how to create the right things for your customers, building up your presentation skills, and showing you a bit about the future and what more there is to learn. Next slide, please. And you get lovely badges after you complete each module. Next slide. So this isn't just about learning new tools and learning new techniques. It's about thinking differently in your ways of working. To give you sort of an example, one thing I commonly find from learners who have come out the other side of the course is how good they are at understanding what data is telling them. So as a simple example, whenever you see on the news that they'll put up a bar chart or something like that, once you've had a bit of training in data and understanding, you'll tend to be a lot more scrutinizing of whatever they're showing you on the news and like, is that quite right? Have you muddled that data up to make it look like your own agenda? This sort of understanding and insight into how data works really does really impact all of our learners. Next slide. So unleash your superpowers. You'll be developing that portfolio of projects based on practical need within your role. You'll change how projects are delivered within your position. You'll inspire and incentivize not only your team, but your supply chain and all the people you work with. So to enroll, we have a pretty straightforward roadmap for how enrollment works. I believe Helen or someone on your side will handle the initial sign up. But from our understanding is we start with an initial online enrollment. We do a skill scan to understand where you are right now and where you need to focus. And you'll get to see a lot of the documentation and commitments associated with the course. Then we'll meet with you and have your initial advice and guidance where we explain more of the course to you. You get to ask questions on a one-to-one basis with one of the tutors. You'll be shown the learning plan and the schedule for the 15 months, and you'll agree on the plan. After that, you'll do your ID check and sign the agreement, and then we're straight into the first episode of learning. Next slide, please.
Just to jump in there, Warwick, I think Helen did mention to me before that anybody that is interested can send an email into the training mailbox. I believe the link will be within the chat. And we do have cohorts, so a level 3, but this is for level 4. So thankfully enough, we do have a level 4 cohort in April, so the April the 22nd to be precise. But then after the April cohort, we've moved to a monthly delivery model. So these level 4 programs will be available every month from April onwards. So if you are interested, please do drop an email to the training mailbox so that we can move you to this stage of the enrolment. Our end, what you're seeing on screen now, so our enrolment roadmap takes about 2 weeks. So if there is anybody that's interested in joining the April cohort, we do still have time. We'll be able to get you to that stage 1, and from that point we'll be able to work with you to make sure that all 4 stages are complete and that you're onboarded and you're ready to start your first episode of learning on the 22nd of April. But due to bank holidays and Easter holidays and your own work commitments, if that is a bit too tight of a turnaround, then as I said, we do have monthly cohorts from April onwards. So I just wanted to jump in there, Warwick, and let the group know about when these opportunities are available.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, David. I did also, while you were talking, I spotted a message in the chat of somebody asking if the level 4 is the entry level or do you need to do the other levels first. Level 4 is, you are allowed to start at the level 4. It's a great starting point to build all those skills straight away. There is an option to do the level 3 instead as a building block to get you there. And if during those initial advice and guidance calls and your initial skill scan, we think maybe that would suit you more, then we'll obviously encourage you to take the level 3 instead of the level 4. But you don't actually need to have any foundational knowledge to do the level 4. It will often depend on just how much data you use within your role and whereabouts your skill level sits is in how you understand it and how we discuss it. Yes, so the endpoint assessment, this is always an interesting thing we like to let you know in advance. It's different between the level 3 and the level 4, but for the level 4 endpoint assessment, there are 2 assessment methods, 1 or 2 assessments that you need to do. One is about that portfolio of work you build up throughout your time on the apprenticeship. So you'll be doing that throughout the 15 months and you'll develop evidence of you utilizing the skills in your role. and then you'll have a professional discussion with an examiner at the end of the course about your portfolio. And then the other type of assessment you have to do is a project at the end of the course. So right at the end, you'll do a project from start to finish, usually about 4 to 5 weeks, where you'll design something from start to finish, and then you'll present that to the examiner and they'll ask you questions about it. So yeah, the 2 assessment methods. Next slide.
Yep, just to jump in there as well. So as you saw earlier on, the program of learning is 15 months. So that's the 15-month program, what we call the practical period. So over those 15 months is just all about learning and building the portfolio. The endpoint assessment comes after the 15 months, and it normally takes around 3 months to get through the endpoint assessment. All training providers will use an impartial awarding body known as an endpoint assessment organisation, and they will take you through that process. Although we are there to support and we'll help you prepare, and we'll do everything we can to ensure that you can go into that endpoint assessment period full of confidence, full of all the evidence, and extremely knowledgeable and competent across the level 4 standard. So you go into that period of assessment and you can blow the socks off the assessor. You can wow them with your questions regarding your portfolio, with the project that you do. And as I said, it takes about 3 months to get through that endpoint assessment period, where at the end of that you get your outcome, so pass, merit, distinction. At that point, as I said, all the learning has finished. It is just about assessment. However, we are still there to support you throughout. So as well as having the endpoint assessment organisation, you'll still have us to help you with any just general questions you may have, and facilitating things like the meeting with the assessor, the project and the timelines for the project. So you just won't be thrown over to the endpoint assessment organisation or the period of assessment and then left to it. We will support you all the way through, because at the end of the day we want everybody to achieve timely but also with the highest outcome possible, where you're able to really demonstrate some amazing application of these skills within the workplace. And the endpoint assessment organisation have seen that, recognised that, and awarded you with your distinction or merit or your outcome accordingly. So that's just a bit about the timeline for endpoint assessment, and just that the 15 months is for learning, and then there's 3 additional for the endpoint assessment. So that's it from me.
Thank you very much, David. It's also worth mentioning as well that we really do support you all the way through the course. As part of our commitment to you as a learner, we offer one-to-one opportunities. We offer drop-in sessions where you come and get direct support. We'll give you advice on the sort of projects you're working on. You can even think of us sometimes as on-call tech support while you're working in that 15 months. You have a number of technical experts from our organisation that are happy to help at any point and support you with all of your learning, not just in completing the work for the course, but also anything that contributes to your role as well. I also see in the comments somebody asked about if you need a GCSE equivalent course to get here. So you don't need any prerequisites to join the course. However, due to the government's official policy on English and maths education, you do need to either provide evidence that you have a GCSE equivalent in English and maths or higher, or take functional skills training, which is a little bit of additional work to get you up to scratch in your English and maths and get you some qualifications in those as well. So the last thing we want to talk about before we go to questions is what we call Project Hack. It's part of the real benefit of joining the apprenticeship with us, and that is that periodically throughout your time on the course, you'll have the opportunity to join our hackathon competitions. These alternate between in-person and virtual, although the in-person ones are especially fun, and they're a 2-day competition where you get given challenges from real organisations and real problems people are facing, and try and see if you can come up with a solution in just 2 days. You don't need to bring a team, you don't need to come with friends. Teams generally form on the day. You'll meet with strangers, form a team of up to 6 people, and you'll get a chance to see how other organisations tackle problems, how you can explore different solutions to things, and give you a chance to experience a project very quickly from start to finish. It's a great way to learn new skills. It's a great way to learn from other people. It's a very welcoming environment, so people are always willing to let you join their team just to observe or help learn. It's a possible opportunity to make some money, and any work you do at the hackathon can be used as part of your evidence in your portfolio. And it's a lot of fun. Did I miss anything on the screen? Oh, yes. So for those who do participate in this, they're sent information 1 to 2 weeks in advance, explaining what the challenges are, what the policies are, and how to show up. Or you should already have planned how you're showing up before that, though. You will be told that further and earlier. But you'll get to see what challenges are available to do. You'll get to pick which one's your favourite, and then form a team with people also interested in the same challenges on the day. And then you've got 2 days to try and come up with a solution and create a video for us to send to the judges, who will judge after the event. Next slide. And there's been a lot of different solutions that have been created during the event. We're about to have our Hack 20 celebration in June in Sheffield, which will be a nice, exciting, big one. If you do decide to join the course soon, you'll get a chance to come along and participate in that as well as a nice little work holiday. All of the solutions everyone's created at the event are on our YouTube channel. We put all of the videos that are sent to judges out into the public so you can all see it. Everything made at the event goes into the public domain because we really believe in collaboration and cooperation between organisations. And there are some really incredible things that have been created. So an example on the screen is a couple of challenges brought by HS2. The one on the right is a risk management tool for people to use on site. And the one on the left is a weather tracking system used to detect if certain thresholds are passed in order to ensure safety on cranes and other equipment. Next slide. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have some questions, because I'm sure I didn't cover completely everything. So do feel free to come off mute and ask anything that you want to ask. Or if you'd like to put questions in the chat, I can answer those ones as well.
I think you've both obviously done a great job answering all the questions. Maybe,
Yeah.
or maybe sometimes people are reflectors as well, so they might want to think a little bit what they do.
Yeah.
And take in what you said.
Just to expand on one of the questions regarding the GCSE and the equivalent. So if you have equivalent GCSE certificates or qualifications from outside of the UK, there is a process that we will provide you the information on how to follow, and it's called ENIC, or previously known as NARIC. And what it basically does, is for you to apply for a statement of comparability. So what it will do is you create an application and you send it over with your qualification, and they will look at your qualification. They will provide us with a statement of comparability to say yes, it is comparable to GCSEs A to C, and therefore the functional skills element is then exempt. Unfortunately, if it comes back as it doesn't hold enough what they call guided learning hours, or if it isn't relevant enough, then you will need to sit functional skills with us. Same as the any kind of higher education you may have. So some people may have degrees already, or masters and bachelors. Unfortunately, that the higher education doesn't always necessarily mean that you are exempt from English and maths as well. We will look at it obviously as part of your onboarding and that roadmap, but some qualifications, they don't have, again, enough guided learning hours for English and maths unless they're specifically in English and maths. So if it's in history or geography, then there could be that it doesn't hold enough guided learning hours and therefore wouldn't be exempt. So although you might not have your GCSEs, you might not have copies of the certificates, but you might have a degree. We can check the degree, but it might not guarantee exemption. That doesn't mean that the doors are closed, because, as I said, you can do functional skills. Functional skills with us is a process that can take a week it can take 6 months. Basically, there's a system we use. It will show us your exam readiness, and we can put you straight on using our functional skills tutor. She will put you through a mock and then a exam, so you could achieve your functional skills within the first few weeks of program, and then it's out the way. You don't need to worry about it. But during that onboarding, we will also do our due diligence and our checks to see if you've got a prior learning record on what we call the LRS, which is like a system designed for all qualifications to be recorded. We will check that to see if exemption lives in there and there's evidence in there. And if there is, we'll screenshot it. And then again, you're exempt from English and maths. So we will try absolutely everything to avoid the need for functional skills. But with it being a government funded program, and one of the big requirements of English and maths is that if we can't gather the exemption through the NIC, so the statement of comparability, through certificates or through the LRS, then unfortunately functional skills will need to be sat. So I just wanted to set that expectation and make everybody aware of the process there.
And I always like to slip in at this point. It does sound like functional skills is a horrible thing when it's explained like that. It's quite fun. It's a great way to brush up on your English and maths. Our functional skills tutor, Jackie, is one of the most fun people in the whole wide world. And she's ridiculously high pass rate for all of the people who do come do functional skills with us. She is incredible. So if you can't get them, it's probably going to be quite fun either way. Somebody asked, do you need line manager approval to sign up? That one is yes, you do. As part of your commitment to the course, your line manager has to commit to supporting you do the course. Throughout that 15 months on the course, you make a commitment that 20% of your time within your work, so that's 20% of your working hours, will be for the apprenticeship. Now, that includes the days we do tour sessions. It includes any extracurricular stuff you attend, such as the hackathons or drop-in sessions, but it also includes any time you spend gathering evidence for that portfolio at the end, which means, technically speaking, that any time in your role you spend improving your team's work, or building data systems, or working with data, it all counts towards that 20% off the job hours. So in an ideal world, it would be easy to get those. I've had plenty of learners who come in and are like, well, I use a bit of data in my day-to-day role anyway. Easy. You've ticked it all off then. All of your time can count towards this, and you just gathering the evidence of applying yourself within your role helps contribute towards the course. The way these apprenticeships are set up and the way the government has designed them is that it's not about you leaving your job for a while and studying. It's about you learning as part of your job, learning to enhance your job, and learning to support your team, and using the skills and using your time to support your organisation.
Perfect. I think that's another question there from Selena. So yes, the classroom sessions, there is a session every month, and they do vary in duration. So at the front end of the course, some of them are 2 days, some of them are 1. But then as you kind of reach near enough the halfway mark, the sessions then become half a day. So what we like to do is over those 2 days is really ensure that you understand the concepts and the fundamentals behind, let's say, visualizing your data, using Power BI, building reports, building dashboards. And then when we explore Power Platforms, which is some of the advanced features further on in the program, that's where they can then become half a day, because you've now been taught how to use the platform, and hopefully you've gone back to your workplace and you're building reports and you're creating dashboards for your organization and your teams. So you're applying that new skill. Further on in the course, when we then revisit it, we'll say, right, great, now you're doing that. Let's show you how you can use Power Platforms, so Power Apps and Power Automate, through Power BI and other Microsoft kind of products to automate what you do. So it's almost expanding on the basis of what you would have been taught. So that's why some of them at the front end are 2 days, and then towards the end they become half a day. So yeah, that's just to set the expectation that it's all part of the 20%, but you will be required to be part of those modules. And just in case a question may be already being typed up as we speak, if there's a session that you're not available for, let's say it clashes with some holiday, then we do record all of our sessions. Now, we do encourage everybody to be, to join live, because you get much more of a enrichment learning experience, sharing best practice, talking to others, asking questions. Whereas just watching recordings is a bit siloed, and it might not sit as well with you, the learning, compared to it being live. And that's where the but comes in. I know what it's like with the program. 15 months is a big commitment, and if it clashes with holiday, then that's why we do record the sessions. You'll also have that tutor to support you as well. So if there is a session you couldn't attend due to holiday, you've watched the recording, you've tried to apply those skills in the workplace, but it's just not quite making sense, then that's where you've got your tutor that can then book in some time with you, bring you up to speed, revisit anything that needs to be retaught or gone over again, just to make sure that that learning has landed and you're able to apply it within the workplace. So hopefully that covers any questions on holidays.
You can also join the drop-in sessions we do once a month, which most of the time I'm running them now, and I will say we do have quite a fun time in there, because there'll be a number of learners from different points in the course, and we all one person will say, all right, here's my problem, let me share my screen, and then we'll all pile in and try and come up with ideas and see if we can help talk you through it. So you get a lot of opportunities to learn from not only the tutors but also other learners as well.
Perfect. I think there was a question there, and I'm not sure if you answered. I skipped, so apologies if you have. Just the statement of comparability expired. So if I decide to check and do now, will this still be valid?
So they don't expire, no. So if you was to do that check now, then we would be able to use that as your evidence. If you was to then decide to join the program later on in the year, you'll still have that that evidence that we can use to exempt you from functional skills.
Oh, and just to clarify, because it was sort of in one of the questions, it is all online, the taught sessions. So some of the project hackathons are in person, not all of them, but the teaching is all done virtually. So it should be pretty easy to get support when you need it if you just give one of us a ring.
Sure, if there are any more questions.
If you have any questions have propped up while we've been talking, feel free to ask those as well. You have got us for another 20 minutes if you want us.
It says, I mean, the other thing is, as I said, that some people are reflectors, so they go, oh my God, I meant to ask that question, but I didn't get round to it. Are they best to contact us, or and then we pass the query on to yourselves? So if they come into, I think we've already shared the email address, info@hpca.uk.
Yeah, I would say any inquiries to go to HPCA in first instance, but by all means, then that can come to me at any time. I'm able to, arrange a quick call with anybody or answer anything over email. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that if there's anything that comes out after this session, once you've had time to reflect on it, we'll be able to answer it super quickly and ensure that there's no grey areas and that you really do understand everything that's kind of been discussed today, because a lot of it, it's a lot to take in one session. So by all means, yeah, feel free to reach out to who you need to, and we'll be sure to answer anything that you may have.
So just a couple of questions coming from Selena. Just to be clear, did you say the classroom or online learning is once every month?
I think that's the question from earlier, but yes, it is every month. Sometimes it'll be 2 days in the month, depending on how far along you are in the course. What's the rate of passing for participants who have not previously worked with data? I don't know that off the top of my head. I know we have a relatively good pass rate at the moment. I think if you're nervous about, lack of experience in advance and that sort of thing, I think it would be best for us to do things like that skill scan where we discuss, where your current skill level is, and if perhaps the level 3 is more suitable for you than the level 4. We'll do our due diligence of making sure during your enrolment if you're on the right course. When does the first cohort start? About
I can answer that one.
2017.
Yeah, yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have a level 3 and a level 4 cohort starting in April the 22nd, and then for the level 4, they are every month after that. So level 3 is going to be bi-monthly, but that's why I mentioned earlier on that the level 4 will be monthly. So they were also bi-monthly originally, but we've now moved to a monthly delivery model. So April the 22nd, and then after that, May, June, July, all the way to the end of the year. We are also, which is a bit of a separate topic, but I suppose one that's useful for everybody to be aware of, is we're also exploring a level 7 AI apprenticeship program. So that just specializes in AI. So that's good for future progression, that if you was to do the level 4, and likewise if you was to do the level 3, you'll see it flows nicely into the level 4. Likewise for the level 4, flows really nicely into the level 7. So at the end of level 7, you'll be an expert in AI, and with the way the world's going with data and AI and cyber, I think they're skills that are going to be sought after and extremely valuable. So that is something that we want to be able to offer. So there's a route for progression right away from in the data industry, from level 3 right the way up to level 7. And obviously that might be too soon for the people on the call now, but that's good to know that next year when you finish your level 4, that there is route into a level 7 if that's where your career and obviously your job role in the NHS is steering you towards. And if it does, then we can facilitate that through level 7. So but yeah, so to answer the original question, 22nd of April.
I think Selena's got a hand up.
Yeah, feel free to come off mute if you want.
Yeah, just a quick one on when you were sharing those slides, there was something about almost like a project management aspect of this as well. Will this give kind of some sort of a capability, not as as an expert, but maybe at least bridge that gap from the novice perspective in terms of how does one manage the project from the start to finish at all?
Yeah, so we, us Projecting Success, wherever our lovely logo is, our position is that we teach project professionals data skills. So the course itself, the Level 4 Data Analyst, is a sort of a universal course for all data analysts in any sort of field. We teach it from very much a perspective of those within projects and within the project profession. We also do, some of the days we teach, we cover sort of some initial explanations of how to approach specifically data projects, which for a lot of people will be quite different from traditional projects, as there's a few different niggly bits that just work a bit differently. We do teach you how to sort of approach doing a data project, what the sort of steps are, how you arrange with your stakeholders. We also do some extracurricular sessions that you can attend on a more substantial how to plan out projects and design projects with data. But yes, hopefully, does that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, because most of the data kind of I'm dealing with now is the workforce data. So your surveys with different metrics and all sort of things. So in one way or another, even if you read the data, but then if you need to put some implementation, you need to be able to plan something from the start to finish. So I just wanted to gauge that. Thank you.
I mean, I personally, whenever I'm teaching a bit of the data visualization session, I'm always drilling into everybody's head. No point doing the analysis unless you've got a reason to. There needs to be like a specific outcome you're looking for, and make sure you plan that in advance. And but yes, yeah, we do cover that sort of thing. Excellent. Any other questions? You can all feel free to hop off mute and shout them out. I won't be offended.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any more questions just now, it just remains for me to say thank you so much, Warwick and David. You've given a great insight into this course, and actually I do know somebody who's completed this course, this actual apprenticeship course, and she's gained so much from it, you know, from doing this, and I know that she's moving on, thinking, as you say, to progress to the next level. And as you say, quite rightly, you know, we're living in a world, it's in the news every day, isn't it, about how AI is going to affect us, and obviously that's quite, strongly related to the data, and as you say, we're in a world driven by data, and that's just going to become more and more important to everybody. And so, you know, watch this space. But yeah, now is the time to get on board. So for everybody who's on the call today, please share, you know, what you've heard today with your colleagues, with, and if you have any further questions, or they have any further questions, please don't hesitate to ask them to contact us, and we'll put them in touch with Projecting Success and Laura and David, and we'll let them know what the next steps can be. But really exciting times, I think. I think now is the time to grab the ball by the horn, so to speak, and really get ahead in this. So I think there is one more question from actually.
That was I did see that question, and that's the scary one. I hate answering that one because I'm not totally sure either. The government seems to
in there. Yeah.
Seems to be very confused about it.
Yeah. So the level 3 is equivalent to kind of A level. The level 4 is equivalent to foundation degree. That then also there's some level 5s that also are equivalent to foundation degree. Level 6, so you may see other standards that we are exploring as well, like data engineer. They're level 5 to level 6, which are kind of your level 6 being bachelor's degree. And then if you do see any level 7 degree apprenticeships, then they are a master's degree at level 7. However, the level 7 for AI is only in a specialized area. So the level 7 that we will offer is not the equivalent to a master's. So it won't take you 4 years to get through it. It's a course that's designed to take as long as the level 4. So a year and a half to 2 years to get through the level 7 in AI, because it's just specifically aimed at one area of the degree curriculum. So in other words, if you did the AI level 7, then if you ever did decide to do the degree apprenticeship in data, so the data scientist, then your 4 years would be reduced because of your recognized prior learning through the AI aspect of what you've achieved. So it's imagining that the 4 sets you up for the degree, the level 4 will set you up for taking a degree, but then any short level 7s will reduce the time needed if you ever did decide to go for the data scientist. So it's sort of like very specialized areas, not just in data, but in all of the digital and IT standards. They have specialized areas that are level 7 that can reduce your time if you did decide to go for a data scientist degree. But the level 4, as I said, is your foundation into a degree. And then as we evolve and as more standards become available through the Institute for Apprenticeships, there's likely to be more versions of bachelor's degrees and master's degrees through the apprenticeship delivery provision, and this will put you on that pathway. I can see the thumbs up, so brilliant.
So I think as people progress through this, through these levels, that we get advice and guidance anyway, don't they? So an important thing is to be on the right one, I guess. And I guess that's the question people may have. Am I starting at the right point? You mentioned the escalator, the analogy of the escalator earlier. It's making sure they're starting at the right point. But is that something they could discuss? You've said all of the steps, that's something they could discuss with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And through that onboarding process, we will work with you to make sure it is the right program. I would say the best way to imagine it is what you want to get out of the program, because it's not just a course. It's not just a course where you're going to learn some new tools. It's about what do you need to do within your job role, within your career, within your aspirations for maybe a promotion or taking on extra responsibilities? And is it to be able to produce reports and to code and to program and to automate? So it's really about thinking about what you want to get out of the course. And if it aligns to your job role and what you want to get out of the course, then it's a perfect fit. It's quite difficult to manage somebody through a program where they've not got the right exposure to the right areas, because then the learning that you're going to pick up, you're not going to be able to demonstrate, and then you're going to have a bit of a shortfall when it comes to that endpoint assessment and that final project, because you've learned all this fantastic stuff, but you're not able to use it or you're not able to showcase it. So for me, I would say, you know, the best piece of advice I could give is look at your job role and say, well, how is my job role going to evolve? What do I want to get out of it? Do I want to automate things? Do I want to visualize data? Do I want to streamline things? Am I bored of using loads and loads and loads of Excel spreadsheets that's taking up hours and hours of my time? Right, well, then there's an opportunity to automate that, to visualize that, programming, etc. And if that's the case, then the level 4 program is perfect for you. So that's the best way I could really put it, is not looking at the levels, but looking at what you want to do and get out of it once you've achieved and completed the program.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I mean, is there not a prospectus as such? But my question is, I'm just thinking people might be in the, where can I see the kind of, I think you showed it sort of briefly on your presentation earlier, but you know, could they go away and look at it somewhere? Or
yeah, absolutely. What I'll do is I'll share you the link to our website that's got our program guides. They are very specific to the programs that we deliver, because for some of them we do tailor the program even further to PMO professionals and even risk management professions and professionals, so professions and professionals. So we've got those on the website, as well as the generic level 4 and the level 3. So that would be a great place to start, and I'll share the link, unless Warwick's able to do that for me whilst I'm waffling on about our website. Yeah,
I think Helen's actually shared our own link actually to apprenticeship. So I'm sure there'll be links within that people can access.
And if Warwick can grab that as well, because then what we've also got is you've got through the IFA, so you can put it into Google, apprenticeship standards. There's the Institute for Apprenticeships, and they hold all of the standards for all of the apprenticeships. You can put data in there, and it will bring up what we call the occupational brief, or the apprenticeship standard for data level 4, level 3, and even level 7. Just bear in mind that with the ones through the Institute for Apprenticeships, they are a box standard generic version of the program. So what you would need to have exposure to, what you're going to learn. So that's where it's just an apprenticeship standard. What we've done is we've taken that standard and made it a bit more niche and tailored it to project delivery. So first instance, look at our website, and then maybe for a bit more research, you can look at the Institute for Apprenticeships website to look even further. So there's lots of places you can research and have a read up on, and hopefully when you've looked at the two, you're thinking, yep, that definitely is relevant to me and my job role. You know, put me down, and we can then bring you on that journey.
Great, fantastic, thank you. But yeah, I mean, do get in touch with us, and you'll see that we have our own page on HPCA website where we can put you in the right direction. We can put you in touch with Projecting Success. But yeah, look for all these different resources, as David says, and then you know, make your decision. But please do ask us any questions. I can see Marion might be asking a question. Yeah, this one. Okay, so what's the difference between a data analyst and digital business?
Yeah, so good question. And again, when you look at the two different standards on the Institute for Apprenticeships website, you'll see that when you try and compare the two side by side, the business analyst program is a lot more tailored to business kind of strategy and thinking about like project planning from a business perspective, and maybe internal strategy changes, maybe rolling out and changes of processes, procedures, relaunching of different branding, different values. So more of an organizational approach and program to understand how business change may take place, whereas data analyst is more about, rather than it being kind of about analysing a business, it's more about analysing the data that drives the business forward. So there's some elements that do have a slight piece of overlap, but the business analyst is something that we don't really see as relevant to what we're delivering, because it's too far separated from project delivery. So it's a great question, and there are similarities, but the data analyst is where you know we're tailored towards, and that leads more into your data scientist, your data engineer, your AI level 7, etc. So hopefully that kind of gives you a brief understanding of the differences between the two. Yeah, so another good question. So there are if you are successful, like as in you've registered your interest with HPCA and you come through to our onboarding kind of process, and you're successfully pass over to us to onboard through the program, there is some eligibility that we will need to check. So we'll do things like checking for with the ESFA funding rules. There's some terms and some conditions we have to ensure are met. For example, living in the UK, living in England, the 50% working your time in England. If you've got a visa, then we'll make sure that we've got the right immigration kind of status and visas, etc. That so we've got all of what we call the evidence pack to show that you are eligible for the program. But we do all of that. When we saw that roadmap again, it's all through that process where we check everything to make sure that from a funding perspective that we've got everything we need to ensure that you are eligible for the program. So and one of those is around the 50% of your time working in England.
But just wondering if we can help, Heather. Are you aware, or is it something else that we can get back to you, Heather, ourselves? Do you know if NHS Scotland does something similar to this? Or...
Yeah, and I can jump in there. So there is a Scottish version of, so that rather than the ESFA, it's the SFA, and so there is the opportunity to do apprenticeships within Scotland using a different funding stream. However, at the moment we don't have for our tutors and the logistics behind it. We only deliver apprenticeships at the moment in England, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't take an apprenticeship through another provider in Scotland. So similar rules will apply. It just means it's because it's separate funding streams. We wouldn't be able to deliver it for you directly.
So you mentioned the SFA. So
yes.
Yeah. SFA. Heather, I'll look into that, and we'll get in touch and see if we can give you some more information. So really good question. So apologies that we've not been able to help you. We'll give you the right answer, unfortunately. Okay. So we've come to the end of our time today. So I guess it just there we go. Thanks, Helen. Yeah. She's put the link in the chat. So awesome. Thanks, Helen. That's brilliant. Just come to the end of our time today. So once again, thank you so much, David and Warwick, for your excellent presentation. Generated a lot of questions, so generated a lot of interest.